Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm here with my beautiful wife, Michelle.
Hello, sweetie.
She looks extra beautiful today because she's sporting Mickey ears on top of her headphones today.
Yes.
Or excuse me, Minnie ears. My bad, yes.
No worries. It was one of the best things Santa brought me this year.
We may post a picture of that later on social media, but yes, she got some brand new headphones for the podcast, complete with mini ears that attach right to them, so she's always looking fab whenever she's here in the studio to cut these things.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. This is our last episode of 2018. We're recording this on Sunday, December 30th, 2018, and we appreciate that you found us today. In the future, you can find us on 1057max.com under the Max Plus tab, as well as on the Max FM app. You can also find us, and better yet, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. It's really the best way to get our podcast because you'll know exactly when we come out, exactly when we have a new episode, and it'll come right to your phone, right to your device, and you listen to us whenever you want.
And we're so excited that we're getting more and more subscribers, as well as our regular downloads. So we really appreciate you folks and hope you're sharing with your friends and family that we're here.
Yes, please share it with your friends, any of your Disney-loving friends, any of your Disney-loving family. Let them know that we exist. Better yet, if you get a chance to, even go on to one of these sites and give us a quick little rating with the stars there. And usually it's near the bottom of the page. If you have a little more time, a review, it would just help so much for some people that maybe don't know we exist, that they could find a way to find us and interact with us, just like many of you have done, and will be some of you again interacting with us on this show. And if you want to interact with us in the future, you can find us on social media on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook and Instagram at Hyperion Adventures Podcast, and you can always email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right, and we love hearing from you. We love hearing some of the suggestions that you all have sent, some of you have sent, and just some of the great feedback and some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, too.
Mm-hmm. We've struck up a pretty good friendship with several of your listeners out there, and we love you all, and we really appreciate that you have listened to us since whenever it was, whether it was day one, whether it was, this is episode 31, whether it was episode 29, episode 30, whatever. However you found us, we appreciate and we love you all.
Right, so thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. So we have lots of stuff for you today, including a brand new food-related VIP tour coming to the Walt Disney World Resort. D23 announces its gold member gift for its 10th anniversary, and it's pretty cool. And there's a tasty little Marvel and Fox story that I'm going to bring you as well. So lots of cool stuff.
Sounds exciting. Tasty. You're in the flow of
I guess
food.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry again, as I usually am. We usually record these things around lunchtime, so I'm usually famished by the time we get done with these things. But, that's just kind of how I work. So our main topic today is, like I said, this is the final show of 2018. We're wrapping up. We're almost to New Year's Eve and New Year's. By the way, Happy New Year's to all of you out there. Hope you have had a great 2018, have a wonderful 2019. But we are going to look back at the 2018 year in review, the Disney form of it.
Right. So again, shout out, happy holidays to everybody. And it's exciting going through a year in review. There's so much amazing things that happened in 2018. And we also appreciate our listeners who have given us some of their faves that we're going to be talking about.
Yes, we will be getting to those after we go through. We're going to run through the calendar here. I'm going to basically start from January, go all to this current month through December, talk about many of the big things that happened. There's so much stuff that happened that I'll be passing by a lot of them. And to be honest with you, I took a lot of these out of my notes from doing this podcast, some of our stories of the week. So there's probably pretty more information from about June when we started this podcast to December than there was from January to June. So just be prepared for that. There may be some things we skipped over. And if there is something we missed and you want us to talk about it, please, or you want to share with us, please contact us in all the ways we talked about earlier. And I will be going back over that later in the show.
Exactly.
So let's get started. Here is the Disney Year in Review 2018. We'll start in January, and the big thing in January was Star Wars The Last Jedi continued to do well at the box office. Of course, this was episode 8 of the Star Wars franchise. It grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide by the time it was done in theaters. Got great critical response. It was a little split on the fan response. Mostly I think it was positive, but there was a very vocal minority out there that really did not like that film so much.
Right. And it just seemed to grow and grow, and I think we still see some things today that it's like, come on, get over it already if you didn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Get over it. Come on, just get over it.
It was fine. It was fun.
I loved it personally. I know you didn't like it as much as I did, but I loved that movie. I think it's a great Star Wars film.
I've learned to appreciate some of the other things with some of the discussions you and I have had off the air about some of the meanings or, takes on different things. So, yeah, I've learned to like it better. Still not my favorite of, the whole Star Wars universe.
Of course.
But it did have some great things, and I have a better appreciation for some other things.
I understand completely. I thought it was a great film, but I also understand that there, some discourse out there, and there's always good place for good discussion as long as it's respectful towards everybody. If you didn't like, everybody doesn't have to like the same things, and I'll say that throughout this. If just because I like a movie doesn't mean that you have to like that film. If you didn't like it, that's fine. I understand that. Just everyone be respectful out there when you're discussing these things. It's a better place, especially on social media.
Right. And just in my opinion, the characters were all likable. I think my criticism came more with some of the things that they did or said in the movie. But all in all, great cast and great set of characters.
Great cast. I think it set up some interesting things that are going to come out next year in episode 9 that I'm looking forward to. We'll see how it goes. But that was probably the biggest news of January. I may have missed something out there. If I did, please contact us and let us know. Let's move on to February, where undoubtedly the biggest news in February was on February 16th, the release of Black Panther in theaters.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great Marvel film. Went on to earn $1.35 billion globally. Was nominated for 1 American Music Award, which it won for Best Soundtrack. 9 BET Awards, winning 2 Best Movie and Best Actor for Chadwick Boseman. 1 Billboard Music Award. 12 Critics' Choice Movie Awards nominations, these are. 3 Golden Globe Award nominations. 8 Grammy Award nominations, 7 MTV Movie Awards, winning 4 of those: Best Movie, Best Hero, and Best Actor in a Movie, Chadwick Boseman, and Best Villain in a Movie by Michael B. Jordan. 1 MTV Music Award, 5 People's Choice Awards nominations, winning 2: Best Movie Actor, Chadwick Boseman, Best Action Star, Denai Guerrera. I don't know if I got that right at all. Probably not, knowing me. 8 Satellite Award nominations, 14 Saturn Award nominations, winning 5. 2 Screen Actors Guild Award nominations, 11 Teen Choice Award nominations, winning 3. And his nomination for Golden Globe Best Motion Picture Drama was the first for a superhero film, the first ever Golden Globe nomination for a superhero film. It was named one of the best 10 films of 2018 by the National Board Review, as well as one of the top 10 films of 2018 by the American Film Institute. That is just a little bit of the impact that Black Panther made on us this year.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I remember the first time that we saw it, it was just like, wow, this is so good on everything. Whether you're talking the cast, the characters, the storyline, everything. It was just like, that was just like a wonderfully perfect movie.
And it was so inclusive of, obviously, bringing in, it was a big African-American film, of course, but also, it had strong female participants in there. I mean, it was so good to see. And it was just a well-written, well-done film. We love Black Panther.
Oh, absolutely. Love the humor in it that was thrown in just at the right time, just the right balance. So, yeah, it was awesome.
Special effects were wonderful. It was just a very, really good film. Moving on in February 22nd, Frozen on Broadway began its performances. The show officially opened on March 22nd, but on Broadway, it started off kind of premieres or, getting set to go before their grand opening on February 22nd. It went on to receive 3 Tony nominations, including Best Musical, Best Book of a Musical by Jennifer Lee, and Best Original Score for Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez. So that was a big news. I know it sold out a lot of times. It was a big hit on Broadway and still continues to do well.
Right. It looked beautiful.
And you can get a small piece of that if you go onto the Hyperion Theater at Disney California Adventure Park, or if you're on the Disney Wonder on Disney Cruise Line. They have a smaller version. It's not as good. They don't have the brand new songs that this had in it for the Broadway run, but you can get a small piece of kind of what it feels like to see it on stage in those shows.
Right.
Moving on to March 5th, the finale for Star Wars Rebels airs. It wraps up the stories of all 4 seasons nicely while leaving some others open for exploration in the future. We loved Star Wars Rebels, watched it from beginning to end, and it just got better, and the finale was spectacular.
Right. I was just going to say the same thing about you talked about got better. I think the first few episodes we were like, it's all right, still give it a chance. And I think we're seeing that now with Resistance. Again, first episode or so, it was okay, but love it now. So, same kind of thing
it kind of takes a while, like for many television shows. It kind of takes a while for you to get understanding of the characters.
Right.
A lot of times they're just kind of showing them who you are, so you're introduced to them, and until they get into depth and what their really storyline is, and you get more backstory on them and everything. And that's exactly what happened with Rebels, and that's what's happening currently right now with Star Wars Resistance.
Right.
March 19th, A Wrinkle in Time is released in theaters. Just didn't do very well. It wasn't a critical hit, and it didn't do particularly well at the box office. Just kind of struggled. There were a lot of people looking forward to this because a lot of people have read the book or books. I don't even know if it's books or book, but they've read it and really enjoyed it, and it just, for whatever reason, just didn't hit it off with people.
Right. Had a great cast, know, so.
We haven't seen it, honestly, so we can't make a judgment on it ourselves, but, just for whatever reason, it just didn't work.
Right.
We move on to April, and that was actually when we had our Walt Disney. Speaking of our own personal best of 2018, is we traveled to the Walt Disney World Resort to take part in the Star Wars Dark Side Half Marathon Weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, we both ran our first ever half marathons. Was just a wonderful time. I also ran the 5K on the April 20th. The half marathon was on April 22nd, and we stuck around for another several days, had a wonderful trip. Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival, and we had our first ever stay in a 1-bedroom villa at Bay Lake Towers, which was magnificent with a great view of Bay Lake, and we loved it all.
Oh, yeah, It was amazing. It was amazing. And what led up to that, too, just prior to that, we did a virtual half marathon, and so by completing both, we got the Kessel Run
challenge medal,
which was beautiful.
The Millennium Falcon medal. We talked about that. It was the last episode, one of the last few episodes. We talked about that. Was great, and that's obviously this isn't a full Disney thing, but it's a Disney thing for us, and it was probably our biggest moment of the year for us.
Right. Well, I did create a top 5 list, and I have to say that one was on my number 1 for top 5.
We're going to be going over Michelle's top 5 list of the things that we did Disney, or I assume that's what it is, our Disney moments of the year, and we're going through that after we go through the list of basically what happened Disney-wise throughout the year.
I won't share any more of those, but that was number 1 for me. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was big, it was big for me because, obviously the first time I had run a half marathon, but Michelle she'd never run more than a 5K before we went into this. I basically had about 4 months to train in this, and she did wonderfully at the half marathon. Maybe we'll get more into that as we move on to your top 5 list, but let's move on through April. Another thing that happened in April, and actually while we were out there at the Walt Disney World Resort, but we didn't take part in it, was Disney's Animal Kingdom celebrated its 20th birthday with a party for the planet that ran from Earth Day, April 22nd to May 5th.
Right.
It includes limited edition merchandise, special Wilderness Explorers badges, and backstage experiences. Also debuted at that same time was Up, a great bird adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, so it's fun to see how Animal Kingdom has really evolved. And I think of all the parks, it's probably the one that has had the most evolution. Although I guess you could say
more
the same
recent
about,
evolution,
right, but the studios. But it was exciting to see all the celebration and see everything on social media of how people were getting things or seeing new things there. So it was exciting.
It was the second year in a row that we were out there for big things when they happened at Disney Animal Kingdom Park. The year prior, while we were out there, they had opened up Pandora. And we actually got to do a soft opening just a few days before they opened it up to the general public, and got to ride Flight of Passage. And the Navi River Cruise and everything, and that was a lot of fun. So it's second year in a row. We just happened to be out there. We just didn't happen to take part in that event on that day. Mostly because we ran the half marathon that day, and we were not in any shape to go anywhere that day.
much more horizontal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was much how we spent the rest of that day.
Yeah.
Moving on to April. Big April news. April 27th, Avengers Infinity War debuted in theaters. What a great movie. It went on to earn more than $2 billion globally. It was nominated for a Grammy Award, 3 MTV Movie and TV Awards, MTV Movie and TV Awards, 4 People's Choice Awards, winning 3 for Best Movie and Best Action Movie, including 10 Teen Choice Awards, 2 Critic Choice Awards, 1 Satellite Award. These are all nominations. They didn't actually win these awards. These are nominations. And they were also nominated for a Golden Globe. So just a great movie. It totally impacted. I don't know anybody who didn't walk out of the theater after seeing Avengers Infinity War and wasn't just completely aghast by what happened, how it finished.
One of the most jaw-dropping endings, and it's wow, that was pretty powerful.
Right. But the movie wanted to bring in all these characters together into one film was incredible on its own and quite an endeavor to make that happen. But then, it had everything. It had action, it had humor, it had sad points. And then, like I said, the finale, I mean, you've probably already seen it and we've probably already spoiled it for you at some point. But I mean, it's been a long time. It's been since April. So come on. But the finale of it all, it just left everybody just like it. You get to the credits and everybo's silent.
Right.
Because it's just crazy. It's like, what did I just watch? What just happened?
Is that really happening?
Yeah. So, of course, builds up for Avengers Endgame next year, a big 2019 for Marvel coming up, I'm sure. We move on to May 25th. Solo, a Star Wars story is released in theaters. It got fairly good critical reviews. Fans who actually saw it liked it, but it just disappointed at the box office. And a lot of people think it wasn't marketed well. A lot of the backlash from The Last Jedi. It was so close to Avengers Infinity War coming out. And a couple other movies that were out there. For whatever reason, it just struggled at the box office.
Right, which was such a surprise because, like you said, those of us who saw it, it was so fun watching this. And, I agree with some of the criticism that it took a little while to really believe that character was Solo. But, again, get over it. If you just...
Get over it. Come on.
But he did have every mannerism.
I think he was great.
Spot on. And the second time I saw it, I was like, yeah, I really loved it. I thought I liked it, but I really loved it.
I think he really pulled off a young Han Solo, very well. Kind of, he's got that panache, kind of that swagger, yet you can still see he's a little bit unsure of himself because he's young and everything. I thought he pulled it off really well.
Absolutely. And like I said, the mannerisms were spot on.
Right. And I don't know anybody who isn't a Star Wars fan that, saw the film and didn't at least have fun with it. Whether they thought it was the greatest Star Wars movie, probably not, but they had fun with it and enjoyed it. I think that, unfortunately, a lot of people, because of some of the backlash out there, because of some of the talk, missed out on a great Star Wars film that they really would have enjoyed. However, in recent months, it is done much better on Blu-ray, digital, and DVD sales. People are finally getting to see it and realize, wish I'd seen this in the theaters when it had been out.
Exactly.
So it is rebounding now. Moving on to June 3rd. What happened June 3rd? We started this podcast. That was the biggest Disney story of the year. I don't think there's any question about that. Yes. I'm surprised the paparazzi aren't outside right now to interview us. No, we started this podcast on June 3rd. It was an exciting day for us. We didn't know where we would go from after the first episode. We didn't know if we'd last 5 episodes, 10 episodes, 2 episodes. Here we are, episode 31, and we appreciate you all. We have all you subscribers out there and all your listeners who are in and out. Sometimes we just love you all, and we really appreciate it. We started with our very first episode, which is Welcome to the Hyperion Adventures podcast, our shortest episode by far. We kind of introduced ourselves and kind of went through the format of how it's going to go, and eventually it's expanded to where we do now. We're last 2 weeks ago, we did almost a 2-hour podcast.
Sorry.
And for anybody who listens to almost all 2 hours, or whether it's 45 minutes, an hour 15 minutes, if you listen to any of it or all of it, we appreciate you all. So thank you very much. We love all our Hyperion adventurers.
Right. It was a a great effort of love that we've just enjoyed. And week after week, we have a wonderful time. And as Tom mentioned, getting feedback from some of you all and getting to, connect with you has been a really cherished experience for us.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. So enough being self-serving again, it's always all about us. Let's move on to real Disney news. June 15th, Incredibles 2 hits the theaters to great critical acclaim. It did fantastic at the box office. It made $182.7 million in its very first weekend. That's a record for an animated feature. Grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide. Was named by the National Board of Review as the best animated film of 2018, and the film was nominated for the best animated feature film at the 76th Golden Globe Awards. Incredibles 2, we loved it. We got to go to a screening of it before it actually came out in the theaters. I think our second episode was the review of The Incredibles 2. It was just so fun, and it was such a great movie.
Right. It totally was amazing to see it, and like you're saying, with that special experience of having to see the screening. But it is a great movie, and it's just a lot of fun, and so glad that they, even though it took a while, that they got those characters back, and they really, really pulled off a whole wonderful new dimension of family.
Right. Yeah, definitely a family film in the regards of you get to see all the troubles that many families go through. When changing of jobs, children getting older and going through their difficulties and how you deal with that, especially as one of them is, wasn't a stay-at-home parent before this, now has become a stay-at-home parent. Yeah. Just really well done. And I know most people loved that film, and we did too. By the way, my cousin, we were at Christmas up in the mountains where we stay for Christmas, and he finally saw Incredibles 2 for the first time when we were up there, and he's like trying to guess on who's the bad guy and figuring it out, and it was just hilarious because his kids had seen it already, and they're just like snickering because they knew every time you make a guess, they'd be like, no, so it was pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
Moving on, June 23rd, Pixar Pier opens at Disney California Adventure Park, including the Credit Coaster, Pixar Pal Around, and of course that also was the start of Pixar Fest all around the Disneyland Resort. Really some interesting new theming. I think, me personally, I thought, some people had some criticisms of Pixar Pier. I thought it just finally tied that area together just in a little bit better form than it had been before.
Sure. It did seem a little fragmented, and it kind of having that common theme really did bring it together, and it highlighted, Disney taking Pixar into the parks more, not just at Disneyland, but now, it was kind of like the year of Pixar internationally. And I think it really started more of a trend of really fun seasonal foods too, like you said, with Pixar Fest. And I think they've just continued that process, since then at a much better level than what they've had in the past.
Agreed on that. Yeah, they've realized that let's have a little taste of something people can enjoy in all our different restaurants, whether it's quick service and some of the even sit-down restaurants where they have a little thing tied into whatever season they're running there, whether it be Pixar Fest, whether it's Halloween time, the holiday time, whatever it may be. And we really enjoyed that they've picked that up. And it really makes our trips to Disneyland much more exciting.
Right. Gives you, and, they're also now putting that out in, whether it's in paper form or on their app, just food guides and things like that, which is very helpful. And I think it's really kind of bumped it up for a pleasurable experience over at Disneyland.
I agree on that, and I hope they continue it. It looks like they are going to continue it as we move on into 2019. Also, Pixar-related, June 30th of 2018, Toy Story Land opens at the Disney's Hollywood Studios. That was your first chance to enter Andy's backyard, ride Slinky Dog Dash and Alien Swirling Saucers, and maybe pick up a quick bite at Woody's Lunchbox. It was beginning on that day.
Yeah, that was an exciting day. I remember being out there. I didn't quite make it in. The crowds were just incredible. People welcomed that new land with open arms, and I think Disney has realized that the immersive type of experience in their parks is what people really enjoy. So it's nice to see that happened.
Yeah, you got to check it out at least a little bit when you were there just a couple months ago.
Right.
I still have yet to check it out. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to do it when we're there in January, but definitely in June we'll be checking it out for sure, and I'm excited to see it. Also on June 30th, along with Toy Story Land opening up, they also released, Disney did, the Play Disney app debuted. Allowed you to answer park trivia, complete attraction-based achievements, play games, listen to theme music, all while you're either at the Walt Disney World Resort or the Disneyland Resort. And even when you're at home, you can have some fun with it. It's just a nice little addition.
Right. It was fun experiencing that in the parks, getting, especially even like the little music things and like you're saying, getting awards and stuff. So it was a fun app that they added on. So I was glad to see they did that.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And I still enjoy it. Although I tell you, the first day I went out there and tried it, man, it just sapped my battery.
Yes.
Hopefully they've gotten better with that. I even tried it out at the parks since then, but I'm looking forward to giving it another shot one of the next times we go, for sure.
Right. And it really, like if you are in line or like I found, especially waiting for rope drop and things, it really kind of helps give you something else to do and think about.
Yeah, the trivia was fun. I had a good time playing the trivia while I was waiting to get into Disney California Adventure Park. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Moving on to July 6th, Ant-Man and the Wasp is released in theaters. We enjoyed that film. It did fairly well in reviews, pretty good, and it did nicely at the box office. Over $600 million earned at the box office, just after what we just talked about, Avengers Infinity War and how that left you feeling. It was kind of like, okay, Marvel's like, okay, we need to step back and have some fun here because that was pretty intense. So, they just went through this movie. It was a good time. It was a good time at the theater. I mean, yes, it does have a moment later. I won't get into it in the and that left you a gasp too, but the movie itself was just a good time.
Yeah, it was a fun, like you said, it added fun and levity to the thing that you knew had happened. It did kind of link in, so you knew there was something else that had gone on, and so and we now own the Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, and we watched it a couple times.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it. It's we love Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp both.
Right.
They are great movies. We enjoy them just for what they are. Are they deep? Really, award-winning movies? No, but they're a good time.
Right,
They're just a good time. So, moving on, July 19th was a big day for me personally, and I think for you too. July 19th, we find out that we would in fact see #Clone Wars saved. That's right. It was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, a big panel there, and a dramatic trailer release that brought cheers and, yes, including to me, tears. I was here at work. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there at Comic-Con that day, but I found out about it, watched the trailer, and I was, I can't believe Clone Wars saved. Oh, it was so great. So final season will be released on Disney's streaming service. Didn't have a time for when that's going to happen yet, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be great seeing those characters again. And that was really a great. And like you said, how they announced it and everything. I'm not completing sentences today. How they announced it.
I never am, so it's okay. I'm in the middle of it going, what was I trying to say? What was that word again? Oh, hi.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying, I'm sorry.
Now I think I forgot. No, but I just the way, the excitement around it, how they did it with, it was a fun release of information.
I can still watch that trailer and get chills and maybe a little tear because it was amazing when the way they did it, Dave Filoni and the whole cast there, because they were celebrating, I believe it was the 10-year anniversary, or maybe it was 20, but the anniversary of Clone Wars. And then they people, and I was watching them, following along on social media as this goes along, and they're building up to something. What are they building up to? They're building up to something. And then they drop this trailer and just the house goes nuts. It was crazy. I read a story back on one of our episodes at that time of how it went down and people they experienced in the crowd. And it sounded so cool. But we're excited very much for that, as we are excited for many things coming up on Disney's streaming service, Disney Plus.
Can't wait.
Moving on to August 1st. That's when That's from Disneyland, the exhibit and auction opened up in Sherman Oaks, California. Not really a Disney thing, but so Disney related.
Right.
And it was really cool. We got to go check it out, even though we traveled for hours to get there. It was really a great time to go up there. They had hundreds of pieces of Disneyland memorabilia. They had a working Jose from the Enchanted Tiki Room. They had cars from various attractions. The stretching portraits from the Haunted Mansion. The Sea Serpent from the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine attraction. It was just amazing to walk through and just scope out all the stuff. Maps, pictures, just so much cool stuff.
It was cool. And it was fun that they let you, in some of the exhibits, take part in, like, go in, take seat in different cars, types of attraction cars, and get your picture taken. And so that was fun that you could do that as well. And I believe we walked home with a quite large...
Yes.
Portrait.
Still one of my favorite things that we have. Every time I walk by, it's hanging in our stairwell, and I walk up the stairs to go up to our bedroom or to come down, and I look at it and I smile all the time. It's and if you don't know what it is, it's all about us. It's a picture of it's an artist rendition of Fess Parker signing an autograph with some children nearby, and then there's Mickey and Minnie and Donald there right with him. Autographed by Fess Parker. It's numbered. Right. It's just we love that piece of art, and we saw it, and we couldn't leave without it. It was just so cool. Right.
And actually, considering the frame that it was in and everything, it was a pretty reasonable price. Right. I mean, we love Fess Parker wineries over in Santa Barbara, and so it was kind of nice that we had that connection with that already. When we loved watching every once in a while on TV.
They drop the old Davy Crockett's and Daniel Boone's. Yeah, very cool stuff.
And we've got a chance to meet some of the family members.
Yeah, we got to meet his son
and daughter,
at a wine tasting thing.
And they're just so nice, so down to earth kind of people. Considering they grew up in Hollywood, there's no airs about them, and they love what they do, and they love the land and respect for the land. Great.
And if you're a Disney fan and a wine fan, I highly recommend you go up to Santa Barbara and go to Fess Parker Winery. The setting is amazing to go out there. It's a beautiful winery. They have a great outdoor area as well as a good indoor tasting area. It's just a really nice place to go and spend an afternoon. If you're coming up from LA, obviously you can spend an afternoon up there, or if you want to spend a weekend, whatever. Really good time to go check it out up there. But that's from Disneyland. What also is amazing with that's from Disneyland is that they could have just sold that stuff.
Right.
They didn't have to display for everybody for about a month.
Right.
Let them go walk through there and check it all out. But no, they let you in. They even sold, like we got to buy that portrait. Right. There were other things that were for sale as well for the general public that wasn't going out on auction. So you could check this all out and maybe walk home with your own piece of it as well. So.
Yeah, and it was amazing watching the auction go on too, and some of the artwork, more drawings, original drawings of different, whether it be drawings of the art concept or other types of drawings, how high they went for.
Yeah.
And yet we could have owned a canoe.
Yeah,
for $6,000.
One of the big canoes that if you've been to the Disneyland park, you know that they had the canoe where you get inside and you're paddling around it. We could have walked away with one of those giant canoes.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would have gotten it home, where we would have put it, but we could have had one.
Just take it home on the coast.
That's right. That's right. Just paddle down the coast. Like the current goes that way, so might as well. Probably wouldn't be that tough. But that was a really fun day, and it was a really fun event for anybody who got to experience it. I hope you did. If you're in Southern California, you got to check that out. Also on August 1st, what happened is the filming began for Star Wars Episode 9, which is a big day for all us Star Wars fans, because now, everybody starts to think about, okay, what's this? What's this picture mean that we've seen? What's the rumor that we're hearing? What's going on with this? They'll let you know what they want to. We're still waiting for the trailer, though. I heard they might drop it before the end of this month. It's not looking like that right now, or at least give us the title. We're getting too close to the end of the month. I'm kind of thinking maybe they are not going to do that, but you never know. Maybe on January 1st, I believe ABC has some of the bowl games. Maybe they could do it there. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to whenever we finally find out the name of Episode 9.
Right. It's exciting to just that it's coming to life.
Yes.
Right.
It's a little odd this year. I mean, it used to never be that way. It was always May that we get Star Wars movies. But ever since Disney has taken over, it's been like the last 3 years we've had Disney in December. It's been like a Star Wars in December, I should say. It's been like this, it's Christmas with Star Wars, And this was the weird year where there was no Star Wars, outside of, watching Resistance or whatever.
Right.
So it was kind of like, oh, where's our Star Wars? I had some stuff on the timeline of 3 years ago, it was the countdown to Force Awakens. 2 years ago, it was we went and saw Rogue One, and last year it was The Last Jedi. I was like, this year, where's our Star Wars experience? We didn't have one.
Right. So. Well, and I think, they've realized that maybe they were putting too many back-to-back, and it was losing some of the popularity that way, too. So
yeah, maybe so. But I'm looking forward to next year when Episode 9 comes out, for sure.
Well, I watched Rogue One again yesterday. I got my December
You were watching
fix.
it in French. I came upstairs and she's watching Rogue One in French because that's what she does. And she's like, oh, I'm just, sort of have it on in the background as I'm working on stuff for the podcast. I'm like, how do you have French Rogue One in the background? I mean,
that's the only way to improve. I mean, Rogue One is amazing. It's like one of my all-time favorite movies ever, whether you talk Star Wars or movie. Just love it, love it, love it. And just to make it a little bit better is listening to it in French.
Yeah. It is a good way of, by the way, if you're trying to learn a different language, if there's a movie you know really well and they have the different language for that, you can kind of get some of the words off of there and understand it a little bit better if you're going to some country, whether it be into Mexico or Spain or France or whatever, and you can kind of maybe glean a little bit off of it if it's a film the lines for really well.
Right. It's get some of the little takes on some of the more natural kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So moving on, August 3rd. Disney movie comes out. Christopher Robin opens in theaters. Such a sweet, adorable little movie featuring Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin, Jim Cummings as Pooh and Tigger, and Brad Garrett as Eeyore, and hilarious Eeyore.
Yeah, amazing.
Just a heartfelt, sweet little movie that kind of, tells you to remember it's okay to tap into your inner child every once in a while.
Exactly, right.
We all have tough, difficult lives. Actually, this was a theme for so many Disney movies this year.
I was just going to say that.
That you tap so much into your, we take it, everything is so tough day in and day out. And then don't forget to every once in a while be a kid at heart, be a kid. It's okay. It's okay.
Right. And that we just recently saw again with Mary Poppins Returns.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of reinforcing that, in order to enjoy life, you have to cherish those simple moments.
I agree with that. 2018 was also a big year for finding out details about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, as far as we found out when it's going to be released in both parks. We also found out on August 30th of 2018, we found out the name for the cantina in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Oga's Cantina, the kind of establishment that attracts some of the most interesting and disreputable, God, I'm terrible. Disreputable characters in the galaxy, and
you're not disreputable, so that's why you have a hard time saying it.
Yeah, no, I asked some of our listeners; they might think I'm a little disreputable. And you never know when a stormtrooper or a familiar face will show up. Patrons at the cantina come from across the galaxy to sample the famous concoctions created with exotic ingredients using otherworldly methods, served in unique vessels, with choices for kids and libations for adults. That was another big note.
Yay.
It was going to be the first time Disneyland Park was going to be serving alcoholic beverages when it opens up summer of 2019.
Very exciting. I was reflecting on, if you're somebody trying to apply for a job at one of the Disney parks, you're trying to become a cast member, and there's always that issue of uniforms. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the people who are applying for these cast member jobs to think what their uniforms are going to consist of?
I want to be one of those people.
I know, right?
That's where I want to work. If I was going to go work at the Disneyland Park, I'd want to work at Galaxy's Edge for sure. Another note, we got that story about Oga's Cantina was that's where DJ Rex is going to be spinning the tunes for you. And that's exciting for everybody who remembers the original Star Tours when it first came out, and not DJ Rex at the time, but Captain Rex was your captain that just never quite got it right, but he always promised he'll do better the next time. Now he's a DJ.
So I guess he had to get another gig.
Yeah, he never quite did better the
fired.
next time. Yeah. So that was exciting news. Mm-hmm. There's more exciting news we'll talk about when we get through the months here. It was, like I said, it was a big year to find out new stuff about Galaxy's Edge. September 28th of 2018, We had some Disney Cruise Line news. They announced their new itineraries for early 2020, and the big deal was they announced they would be, for the first time ever, cruising out of New Orleans.
Yes.
Including one that we booked because we're self-serving, yes. We award the Disney Wonder. There are 4, 6, and 7-night Western Caribbean, 7-night Bahamas, and the 14-night westbound Panama Canal, which is the one that we're going to be on. Let us know if any of you also are going to be on that one. Maybe we'll get together and do a podcast on the ship.
Right.
Might be kind of fun. Assuming we're still doing the podcast in 2020. We can only hope.
So. No, we'll probably be doing it. We just keep hoping to have listeners.
Right. We love all the listeners we have. We hope we keep at least to this level, but we hope there's even more as we get to 2020. But so much fun. They also announced they'll be returning to Hawaii with 2 sailings in April and early May of 2020 out of Vancouver before they start their Alaska season. A 9-night from Vancouver to Honolulu and a 10-night from Honolulu to Vancouver. So
fun itineraries.
Hopefully some of you got out there and booked those.
Yeah. And if so, tell us about it.
Right.
We'll live vicariously through you.
Well, not the Hawaii ones.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We'll live.
Yeah, we're not doing them with the Hawaii ones, but you have to live through us, hopefully, for the Panama Canal. Actually, we're hoping you'll join us out there. I hope you're all on the Panama Canal cruise and we can have a good time out there together.
Yeah. You can meet your mom, too.
That's right. My mother is coming with us. That'll be fun. Moving into October 4th, again, self-serving for us. We attended the taping of Mickey's 90th Spectacular.
That was fun.
Wasn't that
fun?
What
a great experience. Amazing to see all that happening and seeing the behind the scenes and, just being a part of it and then getting to watch it again on TV when it aired. It aired again it finally aired actually on ABC on November 4th. A bunch of celebrities, John Stamos, Josh Gad, just to name a few. Saw Mickey do some fun, cool stuff that we never seen him do before, dancing with the K-pop group NCT 127. Yeah. And showing off his drum skills. Right. Boy, he can really get those skins, man. He was playing. He was so good. And because of that NCT 127 mentioned in our podcast that week, it was our most downloaded episode ever, like by a long shot. Like it's not even close. It was pretty funny. And I believe this was airing again last night, right? Yeah, I was stumbling around and I was like, oh, hey, there it is. It's back on the air. So it was fun. And then, again, it aired on November 4th, and hopefully you all got to watch it because it was a pretty cool show. Yes. Pretty cool show. Yay, Mickey. Yay, Mickey. October 7th, we talked about this a little bit ago. Star Wars Resistance debuted on October 7th. We love the animation style, and the story just keeps getting better with Kaz, Nico, BB-8, the whole crew out there. We are enjoying Star Wars Resistance so much. If you haven't watched it yet, you should check it out yourself. Right. And, it definitely has the feel of Star Wars, but it also has some uniqueness, some of its own character to it. So, it's fun to watch that. Looking forward to it every week. I just love that there's so many more Star Wars stories to tell out there. I mean, it's, for so many years, it was always about the Skywalkers, and which is fine. We grew up loving the Skywalker series. But one thing Disney is doing now is they're getting off into these different areas. I mean, it's a big Star Wars universe. Right. Let's find out all about all these different areas where things were going on, either, whether it was after episode 6, before episode 7, wherever it was within the timeline. Rebels was right before episode 4, or at least a little bit before episode 4. Rogue One was right immediately before New Hope. It's good to experience all these different stories and find out what else is going along. And it doesn't even have to be all Jedi stuff. That's what, Resistance. Have we even seen a Jedi yet in Star Wars? No, I don't think we have. Well, there wouldn't be any Jedis, really. I mean, only Luke was around as the Jedi at that time that we knew of. So we're not really seeing anything in that regard, and not necessarily Force-sensitive people as much. Right. But it does tie in. It's got BB-8. It's got Poe. Yeah, Poe makes an appearance. General Organa makes an appearance. Captain Phasma has made some appearances within it, played by their actual voices, by the way, from the films. So really great. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Moving on, October 18th, Disney announces the construction of a new nature-themed resort at the Walt Disney World Resort.
And this one would be in between Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground on the Old River Country site. Of course, it's scheduled to open in 2022. We'll have 900 rooms in Disney Vacation Club villas. And in November, we found out it would be named Reflections, a lakeside resort.
Yeah, that's exciting. They've had that land for a long time without anything really happening there. So it's great that they're, starting to utilize that again. And it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful place to go. We've stayed out in that area, like by the campgrounds, and it's just a very peaceful place to be, appropriate name. And it's nice that we're going to have some other choices.
Yeah, and for so many years, we drive the boat by, as we're going to Magic Kingdom or to the other resorts, and we would see river country there and be like, what are they going to do with that space? What's going to come of that? And now we finally have an answer. So we'll look forward to 2022 when that resort opens and more Vacation Club villas as well. October 19th, Disney Cruise Line received approval to work on developing a second private destination. They got this from the Bahamian Prime Minister. He gave them okay. And this area is going to be a 700 to 800 acre area in South Eleuthera called Lighthouse Point.
Yeah, and when we talked about this during a prior podcast, we were saying how, especially with new ships and, more of the Disney cruise ships going to the private island, it can get really crowded if they have, especially if they have like two of the large ones there at the same time. And so it's going to be great to have an additional location. Plus, if you've gone on the cruise and you've gone to Castaway Cay a lot of times, not that you ever probably get tired of it, but it's great to know that you'll have a chance at something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we're excited for a new destination. Always our favorite. Whenever we're doing a cruise on that coast, our favorite thing to do is Castaway Cay. And we expect if they finally do go through with this, there's still a few things they have to get in place before they can build our Lighthouse Point. But once they do, it sounds like it probably will happen. Once they do, I'm looking forward to exploring Disney's Lighthouse Point.
That's right.
Done. So that's exciting. Moving on to November 4th, Nutcracker and the Four Realms debuts. Despite beautiful scenery and costumes, the movie fell a bit short at the box office. Just struggled a bit, and we could see why. It was a beautiful picture. There was a lot of stuff to it, but the story just didn't quite get where it needed to go. We enjoyed it, enough for the scenery and everything. It was a beautiful film, but it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, you're right. And it had a great cast. Again, it's just one of those that just didn't flow. But the music by our most favorite singers.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Okay.
The one thing that still it had in it that really works for it, and I'm really surprised it hasn't been up for many award nominations to this point, but the song Fall on Me by Matteo and Andrea Bocelli is just a beautiful, stunning piece of music.
Definitely. And, if you see them perform it like on TV or something, or video, whatever, gosh, if that doesn't bring a tear to your eye and get you choked up, I don't know.
Andrea Bocelli's voice is just, we've talked about it on the podcast before. It's just so good. And we saw it again on Christmas Day, him singing again, singing Ave Maria, which was just beautiful, stunning. It brought tears to people in the crowd. It was amazing.
And those of us at home.
And those of us at home, yes, maybe a little bit. Yes, a lot. Moving on, November 8th, Disney officially announced its new streaming service would be named Disney Plus. They've been rumored for a while, but they made it official on November 8th. They also confirmed a new Marvel series featuring Loki and the big Star Wars news that they were going to be doing a live action Star Wars series along with The Mandalorian, which we already knew about, would be one featuring Cassian Andor, Diego Luna reprising his role. Yeah, I know you're excited because we were just talking about Rogue One a little bit ago. So
yeah. He's just such an interesting character in the Star Wars universe that, sharing some of the backstory of how he got to be where he's at is just so exciting to think about. And, I'm sure it's going to be an emotional one, have a lot of heart to it. But yeah, I can't wait for that.
Me too. That's going to be one of the more exciting things that are coming to Disney Plus. And it's the Loki series I'm excited about too, because I love Loki. I think Loki's such an interesting character within the Marvel universe. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. He's always just a little. I mean, he's the god of mischief, and that pretty much fits him very well. And Tom Hiddleston plays him so well. So I'm very excited for that. But both those, very excited about. The biggest news in November came during the 17th and 18th as they were celebrating Mickey, Minnie, and Pete's.
Right.
You can't forget about Pete. His 90th birthdays, and they had big announcements at Destination D. The big one, of course, I was talking about Galaxy's Edge News. They gave us the name for the two Galaxy's Edge attractions. The Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and Star Wars Rise of the Resistance were the two attraction names. And they gave some details about it and how much fun they're going to be. And they also talked about how interactive it's going to be, that if you fail with and bang up the Millennium Falcon, you might go into the cantina and they're like, hey, the boss is looking for you. I just think that's really cool. So that was fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Of course, it continues to evolve. But yeah, there were a lot of great announcements at that time, too, of other attractions coming up, and also some things that are going to be happening at the parks that, continue the celebration of Mickey and Minnie's birthday, that are coming up in 2019. So some fun things going on then, too.
Absolutely. There's so many cool things. And some of the other things that emerged out of Destination D were they gave us a few more details on the Star Wars Hotel, talking about how it was a multi-day stay. It's going to be groundbreaking, all immersive, looked great. They talked about a new nighttime spectacular that's coming to Epcot that's going to replace Illuminations.
Right.
It's going to have all sorts of pieces, LED panels, choreographed moving fountains, lights, pyrotechnics, lasers. Sounded really cool. We received the name for the Ratatouille attraction that's coming to the France Pavilion. It's going to be Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. We also found out that they're going to be doing a brand new Beauty and the Beast sing-along created by Don Hahn, the producer of the animated live-action Beauty and the Beast films.
Right.
So that was cool. And we learned that Disney's Hollywood Studios this coming year is going to be doing a nighttime experience called The Wonderful World of Animation starting in May. We're looking forward to checking that out when we are out there for sure.
June, right. Yeah. And it was fun seeing that they're going to have that interim between Illuminations and the new pyrotechnic display that they have that's going to include music from the original opening.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Epcot.
Yeah.
So that's fun to look forward to as well.
Because we like those classic attraction themes and music and everything. So that'll be a lot of fun to check out as well. November 21st, moving on away from all that park news. There was so much of it. I didn't even get to near all of it. There was so much of it. November 21st, Ralph Breaks the Internet is released in theaters. The film does very well. It grossed more than $350 million worldwide. Film received a Best Animated Feature nomination for the 76th Golden Globe Awards, as well as the 24th Critics' Choice Awards. And we enjoyed it. We thought it was just a fun film.
That's a great way to describe it. Fun film. We loved all the nods to the internet and everything that goes on there. So a lot of Easter eggs that were fun to see. And so
it's a very meta Disney movie, willing to go back within itself and make fun of Disney, poking fun of itself. Whether or not this will be a timeless movie that, will be a classic forever, we don't know. But it's still an enjoyable ride for right now,
Yeah, and it has a lot of great, some of the returning fun characters and some new ones. And yeah, it's cool.
That was very cool. November 22nd, Thanksgiving. We received our first peek at the new live-action Lion King movie. They released a trailer during the football games during Thanksgiving, and it just crushed social media and the internet because everyone was like, oh, the Lion King. And it looked spectacular.
It did. And, one of the best things of all is Mufasa's voice. Continuing on with James Earl Jones carrying on that strong, powerful voice for Mufasa. That was wonderful to hear.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And the shots were beautiful. It just looked like shot for shot the opening of Lion King. And we're excited to see that film. Next year, 2019, is going to be an exciting year. Lots of great films coming out. Lots of great Disney park stuff coming out. November 27th, we screened Mary Poppins Returns and couldn't talk about it forever, it seemed like. We couldn't say a thing. And we had to bite our lips all the time about it. It was crazy. But now we can all talk about it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's great. We love it.
Yep. We've seen it again.
We saw it again. And we'll talk more about that in a second here. November 28th, Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures was announced and released in December. The little shorts that are on YouTube, Star Wars Kids, I think is what it's called. But they're just fun, beautifully animated little short, like 1-minute pieces that really introduce Star Wars in a very kid-friendly way. Some of the characters, some of the ships, all that stuff. It's really kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, it's educational, into getting into the Star Wars universe. But like you said, it's really geared towards getting kids involved in it, and that, they can be the new generation that goes back and looks at, say episodes 4, 5, 6 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just really cool stuff, really interesting stuff. And they continue to put more out there. There's more out there now. You can go check them out. If you haven't seen them already, or if you've seen the early ones and haven't seen the later ones, go find them on YouTube. Moving on to December 3rd, the Captain Marvel trailer was released, showed why she is considered possibly the most powerful Avenger because, boy, she flashed some real power in the end of that trailer, and it gave me chills, for sure.
Absolutely.
December 7th, talking about getting chills, we finally received the trailer for Avengers 4 and find out its title, Avengers Endgame, and talk about a great trailer. That one totally broke the internet. I mean, people, that was I think it was the most watched trailer of all time within the first 24 hours after that came out.
Oh, sure. I believe it. As much as we said how the other one ended and how you felt, this one, really gave you hope and, showed that there is some light beyond the darkness, let's just say.
And they also finished it up with a little humor at the end, which is really funny as well. I'm sure you saw it, but if not, go back and watch it again because it's a really good trailer. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about Avengers Endgame as the 2019 progresses. December 9th, Disney Films officially crossed the $7 billion mark in gross global earnings at the box office. $7 billion. What a great year for Disney. Next year, I expect they're going to do at least 8 because the movie slate for 2019 is insane when you think about what's coming out. So.
Right. And so fun to look forward to.
Yay. December 19th, Mary Poppins Returns finally is released in theaters. Reviews are mostly favorable, including ours, which was very favorable. I haven't met anyone yet who is either a Mary Poppins and or Disney fan who didn't love that film.
Right. And, as we've said before, and this is no spoiler, it is not a remake. It's a continuation of the family and Mary Poppins coming into their life again. And it's just so much fun. And also, as we mentioned a little bit ago, it just shows you how it's important to, kind of touch back into your child's side to be able to appreciate life and to appreciate, that you can make it through hardships.
Yes, absolutely.
So touching.
It is a touching film. It's a beautifully done film. The music is wonderful. We love everything about it. There's great humor in it. And we just saw it again. You were just talking about it. We saw it again just a couple nights ago, and I loved it even more the second time I watched it. Personally, I got more out of it. I noticed so many more nods to the original, especially within the music.
Right. Me too.
Watching it a second time, just really got a kick out of it. And hopefully you'll go out and see it again in the theaters if you've already seen it once. See it again. I can't wait to have it at home so we can watch it regularly and see some of the behind the scenes of the filming and everything.
Exactly.
So
and I think one of the things we've seen on social media, and I think we've kind of talked about this before, is it better than the first one? Probably not.
No, it's not. I will say it's not better than the first one. The first one's a masterpiece.
Right. But it is still amazing. It's still great. A lot of wonderful parts and a lot of, and I know I talked about characters of some of the other things too, but love the people they have playing for this. And
So good. So good. And by the way, yes, there were people out there. We asked you early on that there in the very first song in Mary Poppins Returns that there's a little nod. I'm sure it was intentional by them to one of Michelle's favorite tips. And yes, there are some of you out there that contacted us and said you picked it out. And those people are, the first one that did it was OG Hyperion Adventurer Patty.
Right.
OG Hyperion Adventure Rob and OG Hyperion Adventure Dan all got it back. And this isn't a spoiler. It's just part of the first song. It's like there's a different point of view if you just look up. Right. And that's something that Michelle has always talked about. It's one of her favorite tips for talking about when you go to the park is that, everybody's so tunnel vision. You're looking to go to the next attraction, to the next restaurant, to the next show. Take the time to look up and look around, and you'll be amazed at what you see in the parks because they do such a great job of theming and doing different things.
Exactly. And they really, pay attention as much to things above eye level as eye level, And so, whether it's seasonal decorations of things at the top of buildings or, like the window showcasing people that they're highlighting that were historical? Yeah, in the development of the Disney parks.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there's just so much up there. And it does make you, even if you're not looking way up, it does give you that, like you said, avoid the tunnel vision of just trying to run, down Main Street or run past this other thing because you have to get to an attraction. You really miss out on the time that they took to really, with a lot of detail, put more decorations or more, of the fun experience in, how they have everything set up there.
Yeah, it's just like one of the things we both have suggested, but especially you, is that, just take the time sometimes when you're in the parks. You're always in a rush. Take the time. Look around. There's so much to see, and you don't need to be waiting in the queue for an attraction. You don't need to be trying to set up the next dining reservation, whatever it is. There's so much to see and do and not even ride any of the rides, any of the attractions, any of the shows. There's so much good stuff. And take the time, take a step back and just enjoy it sometimes.
Right. And, going along with the Mary Poppins song and the, look up and different perspective on things. One of the things that we've talked about being a favorite is taking the double-decker bus up or down Main Street, and going upstairs to the top level and just seeing the parks from a different
point of view.
Right, and it is amazing, how different it looks and feels from up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so cool. So that was cool. We wrap up our year in review. December 25th, we as Disney fans got a couple of Disney Christmas presents. The first one being during their parade showing, they gave us a sneak peek at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit of what the attractions are going to look like, how they're going to look when you're on them, and it looked amazing to us.
They did look amazing. So realistic and such detail. It's so exciting. So exciting.
Can't wait. So we're getting a little more information all the time as this progresses, and I can't wait for summer of 2019. And the final thing, and I don't know how you avoided this if you haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it, stop the podcast right now, put us on pause, go to YouTube and look up the Disneyland Paris duck commercial.
Yes.
And have a tissue ready because it is the cutest thing I think I've ever seen out of a Disney. Disney has a lot of cute ads. That is one of the cutest ads I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
I've never seen, anyone I've showed this to has the same reaction.
Right.
It's oh my goodness.
It's just so cute.
It's so sweet and adorable. It's a beautiful little commercial. You have to go check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
Right. And when it first comes up, and even with some of the music in the background, you don't necessarily think Disney or an ad for Disney parks. It is for Disneyland Paris, but you do get to. You catch on pretty quickly that it is. And you're right. It is so sweet.
It is the cutest thing.
It's adorable that
I've watched it several times, and every time it brings a little tear. I mean, I've watched it, I've shown it to other people, so I've watched it again. And every time I have the same reaction. It's just so adorable.
A happy tear.
It is a happy tear and a sweet tear. And it's the cutest thing.
Adorable.
Check it out. So that wraps up our portion of the Disney Year in Review 2018. We'd love to hear what your favorite parts were. What did we miss? I know we missed a ton of stuff, and we're already, we're an hour in, so I don't know how we missed anything, but we definitely did. We'd love to hear what you are. Michelle has gone through, I think, is this your list of your top 5?
This is my top 5, things? And there's a couple things that you mentioned, one of which I, already shared was my number one was the Star Wars half marathon. That was, number one. And then, so number 2 on my list of Disney things in review is, like you mentioned, we did get to see the screening of Incredibles, and that the cast and and Brad Bird was there, so that was an amazing experience.
So lucky. We were blessed with a lot of cool, and thanks to this podcast mostly, we've been blessed with getting to experience a lot of cool things. And D23, by the way, it's another thing that's blessed us with many great experiences this year.
Exactly, and if you don't have D23, and we've done a podcast, you can look it up. That kind of talk the pros and cons. It might not be for everybody, but you might be surprised some things that it is beneficial for you to have that kind of membership. Another item that I had on here was Disneyland Star Wars Night, ringing in Star Wars Day.
Oh yeah, that was so fun
at Disneyland Park. So it started in the evening on May 3rd. And then we were there.
Ended up on 1 a.m. on May the 4th. Be with you.
Exactly. That was a blast. For me personally, getting to take my mom to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which I haven't done in years, and she has never done. So that was fun, and they do such a great job. So if you haven't done that, look forward to next year to do the Very Merry Christmas Party at Walt Disney World. That's fabulous. Another one was similarly the Disneyland Throwback Night.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was really a blast seeing that too. So those were my top 5 events or Disney-related elements that I got to experience.
Right, and I think you had it on yours. Probably the top one was our Star Wars half. That was my top event of the year that we did.
Right.
Our completing the Star Wars half marathon, the Dark Side half marathon was just spectacular, and the culmination of so many cool things, and to see you do it, and what you had to go through and get there. And I even got a chance to be on the Run Disney video.
That's so cool.
If you go look at they have a Star Wars recap of the Dark Side, the 2018 Dark Side half marathon. I'm near the end there. You can have a quick little glance of me, but it was just the coolest thing, and just the culmination of so much hard work and but fun at the same time.
Yeah, we got to feel good about what we accomplished, but as we've said over and over, doing a Run Disney event is just a blast. It's so much more enjoyable than any other run that you could. Or I should say we have. Maybe there are other great ones out there that we haven't experienced. If so, let us know, because we'd want to do them. But it's just a lot of fun. I do like that next year's you get to have a choice of whether you're dark side or light side, which would have been fun to do that. But we were, we were in the dark side race, but we were on the light side.
We were both light side characters, yes.
So.
And by the way, for those of you, we're only just a couple weeks out from the Walt Disney World race weekend out there. Best of luck, best wishes to all you that are going to be taking part in those races, including the marathon, which you people are insane to me. But we love you the same, and we get it because, 4 parks is pretty cool to run through. So good luck to all of you out there. So. Those are our events and what we saw in our calendar for the year. We had some listeners that chimed in as well with some of their favorite Disney moments of 2018. From Twitter, we have Janelle, who you can find if you want to follow her at Janelle3480. 3480 Janelle at Janelle3480. She said, our family's favorite Disney moment was Disney After Hours at Magic Kingdom, where we rode on Mine Train 3 times in a row, rode 11 different attractions, finally rode Astro Orbiter, and ate more popcorn and popsicles than we could even count. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It does sound like fun.
Jocelyn, who you can follow at Disney Gratitude without an E1. And by the way, you should. She's a spectacular follow and is one of the sweetest people you'll find on Twitter. She said, our favorite was allowing the public to vote for every aspect of our Disney World vacation, and ended up being absolutely amazing. So that's kind of a fun way. She reached out to people on social media and said, Lay, tell us what you want us to do, and we're going to do it. And that's a lot of fun. And like I said, she's a great follow. You should follow her if you're not already on Twitter. Moving on to Facebook, Julia said, well, this is a really crazy event that she was lucky enough to attend. The Candlelight Processional at the Disneyland Resort is the guest of a Club 33 member sitting front row under the podium and having Chris Pratt wave and say hi to us.
Nice.
Wow, yeah. Chris Pratt's such a cool dude. I wish he would say hi to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And, we're talking Disneyland. It's really different if you're used to the Walt Disney World Candlelight Processional where you can buy the dinner packages or you can stand in line for hours and go free. The one at Disneyland, even though it originated in Disneyland Park, is only held 1 to 2 times during the season, and it's really just invited guests. So lucky, Julia.
Lucky. What a great event, and to be front row. That's amazing.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Mandy said, Mary Poppins Returns was my major Disney moment this year. I was looking forward to it so much, and it lived up to my expectations. I wake up with the soundtrack in my head. So do I. In the parks, it was attending the first Epcot International Festival of the Arts and our first Magic Kingdom DVC Moonlight Magic, all in the same adults-only birthday trip. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
We did the Festival of the Arts a couple of years ago. We'll be there for a small time piece of it in January, and we're doing Moonlight Magic actually at Disneyland Park coming up here at the end of January. So we're excited about that. Yeah. Renee said, I have a long bucket list to still check things off of, but this year has been filled with magic moments. My top ones I can't share. Ooh, secret, Renee. But a couple that I can mention are tagging along with Julia. I believe that's the Julia that we heard from earlier on a VIP tour, 4 parks in one day, and then being able to dine at Storybook Dining at Arbutus Point, which has just barely been open.
Right.
On the second night it was open with some wonderful friends.
Wow.
That looks cool. I saw a lot of pictures from Storybook Dining at Artist Point, and we're probably going to do that in June, right?
We have reservations already.
Nice.
Confirmed.
Score. Looking forward to that. Brooke sent us a message saying, for me, it was experiencing my first Run Disney race with my 8-year-old son. That's so sweet. We then spent a couple of days in the parks together. Having that one-on-one time with him is something I will never forget. I totally get that. That's wonderful.
Yes.
What a fun thing to do with your son, and to finish a Run Disney race. That's so cool. Nicole said, our first trip to Disneyland to celebrate my daughter's 13th birthday. That's really neat. We've been trying to get out to California for a few years, and I am so happy we did. It's hard to explain how magical the parks feel. We will be going back in a couple of years, and we can't wait. So that's really cool.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. We've been going to Disneyland for so long, we just kind of take it, not for granted, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And so if someone gets to experience it for the first time, that's always an amazing thing. Angie said, so many wonderful events this year. I'm so blessed that Disney invites me out as media. Well, hey, Angie, we're lucky enough to, we just talked about, we got some of those things too, but not as much as she has. Listen to this. She was at the opening of Toy Story Land, Flower and Garden, Mickey's Not So Scary, Very Merry Christmas Party, a Pandora adventure, Animal Kingdom's 20th anniversary, which we talked about. We were there, but we were too exhausted to do, and early movie screenings. But my favorite was a FAM adventure with Disney Youth Education Series, with my daughter learning about energy and wave physics, light and sound through the attractions at Magic Kingdom Park.
Nice.
So, that's cool.
That is cool.
And Angie, if you ever want to invite us on some of the, or help us get into more of these media events, we would love to have you help us out. So either way, we're glad you report on all these wonderful things.
Right.
Finally, Ian, who had a very interesting year this year. It's a she, Ian, she said, oh, wow. And this is the big thing for her. You're going to be hearing a lot from Ian coming up soon. Being chosen for the Disney Parks Mom Panel tops the list, of course.
Sure.
So pretty soon,
to her.
Ian is going to be answering a lot of your questions out there if you have any questions about the Disney Resort, and Ian is a very good resource. She also mentioned, however, finishing the Disney Princess Half Marathon was a fun challenge for me. So we kind of understand that experience in many ways. So those are our listeners and what they had to say, what their favorite Disney moments of 2018 were. So many great moments we had, they had, Disney in general had. If you have any more, please share them with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun hearing, some of these other things that have gone on, or like when you're sharing what you've done either with a family member or a friend, that it just shows how wonderful the parks are to really bring the best out of people and to bring joy to our lives.
Mm-hmm. So cool. Very cool stuff. And thank you all for taking part in this. And we hope you all it sounds like you all had a great Disney 2018, and hoping for better things, even better things in a Disney 2019 for everybody out there. So that's our 2018 Disney year in review. Let's move on quickly to the Disney stories. We're over an hour, but that's okay because we love doing this podcast and we just love talking and we love hearing our own voices, apparently. So Let's move on to Disney stories of the week. We always do Disney stories, so many Disney stories. This week, I'm going to start off with a new food-based tour that's been announced at the Walt Disney World Resort. This straight from the Walt Disney World website. The tour is going to be called A Taste of the Magic Kingdom Park VIP Tour, and here's how they describe it on the website. Discover how food memories are made as you taste your way through the kitchens of Magic Kingdom Park. Remember the first time you tried the Dole Whip? Or maybe you ate a turkey leg? Or maybe you eat a turkey leg every time you come to the park. Food is an essential part of the Walt Disney World vacation experience. On this brand new 3-hour experience, you'll uncover the magic behind the meals. You'll hear stories from brilliant chefs and dedicated cast members that bring creative and delicious meals to life each day at Magic Kingdom Park. From the rich food history of Disney parks to the Imagineering of new menu items, you'll be immersed in culinary magic. You'll go behind the scenes, enjoy unprecedented access to backstage kitchens and working areas that have never been shared with guests, see what goes into the production of serving millions of guests each year, and interact with the creative experts behind these memorable meal experiences. Delight in delicious tastings along the way. You'll tuck into creative tastings of some of the most beloved menu items at Magic Kingdom Park. So as they say, be sure to bring an appetite for an incredible assortment of sweet and savory flavors. And you'll also be able to taste the future. You said you can help Disney culinary artists create the next generation of Magic Kingdom Park food by sampling an item that is still in development.
Very exciting. We've done some of the tours at the Disney parks and always go away.
Never been disappointed with any one of them.
Having loved the experience. And so this one sounds particularly exciting, particularly creative. I mean, we both love food. I mean, who doesn't love food? But I mean, we really, some of the things that we've talked about in the podcast, how we like that Disney has embraced doing themed foods or fun foods with different holidays and stuff. And so this is exciting. Can't wait for us to do it.
I think we're going to look into this when we go in June, possibly doing it one of the days. Right now, from what I saw, the first date I saw available, I just checked online a couple days ago. I don't know if it's still the case, but first date I saw available for this was February 24th of 2019. The price of it is $99 per person plus tax. You do need valid park admission. It doesn't just the paying for the tour doesn't get you into the park. The experience is currently offered on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and you can book online or call 407-WW-DINE. That's 407-939-3463 if you want to book it. It looks fun. It looks interesting. If you go on it before us, I would love to hear a review of it.
I was just going to say the same exact thing. Yes, if you take that tour and share with us, we will talk about it here on the podcast and give you credit for it too.
But we're excited for that. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the podcast, but I did go to culinary school. I'm a trained chef, so this intrigues me even more.
Right.
I'm always interested in how kitchens run. I'm always amazed at some of the stuff they can do at the Disney parks and any of these big kitchens in general. And I just think it'll be kind of fun to check it out, what they do behind the scenes there to pump out all this food for so many thousands of visitors every day.
Yes, and exciting that they're going to really open up to share that information.
And sample food, which is, I'm always hungry, so sampling food, always good.
We may need to start doing the podcast after lunch or something.
Yeah, I know. I'm always hungry.
But it makes us keep moving.
Thank goodness they didn't release any menus today because I'd be like, salivating on the microphone there. It would not be a pretty scene. Moving on to the next story of the week. D23 releases its gold member gift for its 10th anniversary, and it really is a cool one. This from the D23 website, d23.com. They have their new gift that if you sign up or to become a new gold or gold family member or renew your membership, it's going to be a 10 Fan-tastic Milestones pin set.
Ooh.
I saw a picture of it. You can find it online. It's fantastic. And it says here, straight from their website, in 2019, D23 Gold members will celebrate 10 years of the official Disney fan club, quote, that's made for you and me, end quote, with this delightful pin set celebrating milestone Disney memories from the Skeleton Dance to Up. Celebrate D23's 10th anniversary and 10 of 2019's momentous Disney anniversary, a collection of beautiful pins presented in an exclusive D23 embossed tin. Spanning 90 years of history, these glittering gold tone finished pins were uniquely designed by Disney artist Rick de Los Angeles. Is that his name? Rick de Los Angeles?
Wow.
Ricky de Los Angeles? Or is it the Ricky Day / Los Angeles? Whatever. I'm going to go with, it was written there as Ricky de Los Angeles. Exclusively for D23 Gold members in 2019. Included in the set are highlights from across the Disney family, from Marvel Comics to Disneyland, from Indiana Jones to the Muppets. This limited time set was made for the fan in all of us. If you haven't checked it out, it's really cool. They always give you a great gift when you renew or when you sign up for D23, and this one looks spectacular.
Yeah, I can't wait. Of course, I'm a big fan of the pins.
I know you are. I knew as soon as I saw this, I'm like, she's going to love this.
Yes. And we've gotten some from some other D23 events, some of the pins, and they really are unique, really special. So this is wonderful.
So here's what the pins are. I went through and I checked them out really closely to see what they all are. So the pins are Carl and Ellie mailbox pin from the movie, of course, Up. Kind of a service elevator thing from Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. Mine car from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Skeleton Dance, of course, Silly Symphonies, right. Skeleton Dance. Kermit from Muppet Movies holding his banjo there. Classic Donald Duck. Marvel comic book. Sleeping Beauty Castle in a television. So you're kind of looking back at Disneyland, the television series with that one. And Haunted Mansion, of course, from the Disneyland park. All getting at some point of anniversary this coming year.
Wow.
In 2019.
That's superb.
Yeah. So really fantastic. And we highly recommend D23 anyways, but these gold pins are just beautiful, and we're looking forward to receiving ours when we renew our membership coming up here soon.
Very cool.
Yeah, good stuff. So moving on, it sounds like, and we're moving to Marvel news now, it sounds like development of Fox's Marvel characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe could maybe be coming sooner than maybe we thought. This is straight from Variety. They spoke with Kevin Feige, president of the Marvel Studios. He talked about many Marvel subjects, and then the subject of Fox and the X-Men, of course, coming to the MCU came up. Feige says he hasn't been given the official green light to start developing stories within the MCU for these characters yet, but he expects to start digging in soon. Here's his quote. Quote, "We've been told it's looking very, very good and could happen in the first 6 months of next year. The notion of the characters coming back is great. It's nice when a company that created all these characters can have access to all of them. It's unusual not to, but in terms of actual thinking about it and actually planning things, we haven't started yet. But it's great news that maybe we might be seeing the X-Men start to be developed in some of the other characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He says possibly as soon as like 6 months from now.
Wow, that is truly exciting. Yeah. That is great news.
I know it's one of the main things that we heard about when we heard about the, Disney buying 21st Century Fox that we all thought about is that we might finally be able to reunite the Marvel Universe for the most part. Right. And it's looking closer and closer as we approach into 2019.
That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also says, when the day comes, it will be part and parcel of Feige's mission statement. Oh, this is from the article, not what Feige said. Statement from day one. For years, the dream was to replicate for a global audience the experience that comic book fans have been enjoying for decades, the shared universe. It wasn't his idea, of course. It was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby in the Marvel bullpen who first brought these characters together on the page. It was a relatively small group of people working on a lot of characters, and that's what Feige says Marvel Studios is today.
Wow. Yes. That's very touching.
Yes. Very nice, very nice. And one more small note out of the Disney stories of the week. You probably already know about it, but just in case you don't, Disney Parks Live will be streaming the New Year's Eve fireworks on their website, on Disney Parks blog, Disney Parks Live, on YouTube. You can look it up and find it. They're going to start on Monday, December 31st at 11:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 8:45 p.m. our time, which is perfect for us because we barely ever make it past 9 p.m. If we make it past East Coast New Year's Eve, we're doing pretty fine,
Yes.
So it says here from the Disney Parks blog that this year's New Year's Eve celebration at Magic Kingdom Park will feature a special performance of Fantasy in the Sky fireworks that includes songs from some of the most beloved Disney films, including Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and Aladdin, plus tunes from It's a Small World and The Haunted Mansion. Be sure to be on the lookout for a special New Year's Eve finale. We watched it last year, and it was really great to have that, just sitting at home and kind of feel like you're a part of the Disney park celebration, even though you're in your own comfy chair at home. But it's a lot of fun.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, it's obviously not going to substitute for being in the parks, but you do get the benefit of being in your own home or comfortable chair. Ease to get to the restroom or get more food.
Your own beverage and snacks right next to you.
When alcohol.
When the fireworks are done, you just walk right into your bedroom and go to sleep, or you just go to sleep right in your chair.
Not fighting crowds.
Right.
But again, it doesn't
quite have the same excitement, but it's still cool.
Right. And their fireworks are amazing, and especially the ones on, big celebrations such as New Year's Eve. So that's awesome that we'll be able to, or you all too, will be able to experience this.
Yeah. Again, this isn't the first time they've done it, but they're doing it again, and it's always a fun time. All the Disney Parks live stuff, when they put it up there, whether it's the parades, if you got to see the candlelight processional with Neil Patrick Harris this year, that was amazing to watch. If you haven't seen it, if you want to remember a little bit of Christmas, all this stuff is posted on the Disney Parks Live YouTube page. You can check out a lot of their stuff from the past there, including that one. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Right. And you get like the best seating.
Yes.
Maybe not as good as Julia then.
Apparently not. I don't think Chris Pratt's saying hi to you through the TV. Although Neil Patrick Harris did say hi to everybody at home when he was watching it.
That is absolutely true.
So, a lot of fun. Anyway, so that's the Disney stories of the week. If we missed anything, please contact us. Let us know what we missed, or if you want to comment on any of these stories we talked about, we'd love to hear from you. So, we always wrap up our show with our vacation tips, whether it be the parks, whether it be travel, whether it be the movies, whether Run Disney, Disney Cruise Line. We always have some sort of tips for you. And we thought this week, because of the fact that we are doing our year in review for 2018, that maybe we revisit some of our favorite tips from the year of 2018. And we always start with Michelle, who has the best tips. You look at the list of our tips from this year. Hers were always the best. Mine were always way back there somewhere.
I don't think so.
So we always start with her. And also because she's lovely and she's so adorable with her mini ears, headphones on right now. So let's not hesitate any further. Let's get to Michelle's tip of the year of 2018.
Well, you're amazingly sweet, honey. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the new headphones that are really here. Great. And the fact that I have mini ears on top of this headphones is awesome too. Well, I kind of gave one earlier too. It reminded people one of my favorites from,
That's my favorite from your
right, is Look Up. But, to have something in addition to that is another one that I feel is one of our favorites is, the parks are great and we love them and we know you do too. But sometimes it's not advantageous to go into one of the parks. So whether it's, you're traveling and it's your last day, you're traveling home and you don't want to get a ticket for that day, or, like now during the holiday times, you may have done parks for a while and you're getting like burnt out with the crowds that are just crazy, but fun. Another thing that you can do is really appreciate all the fun that they have at their themed resorts. All their resorts are themed differently, and they have different food and different decor. And so just, hotel hopping is a really fun thing to do, and you can plan it out even. We've done that in the past where you start like in the morning with maybe some beignets from, Port Orleans, and then you move over to, lunch and have something fun at Beaches and Cream over at the Yacht and Beach Club, and afternoon tea at the Grand Floridian, and, Trader Sam's Grotto Bar in the evening for some pre-dinner cocktails and stuff like that. But again, there's just so many, and that's just a drop in the bucket. Mm-hmm. There is just so many great resorts at the Walt Disney World Resort that you could experience just as much fun as a day in the park.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I totally agree with you on that regard. There's so much things to do that you don't need to actually be in the park all the time.
Right.
Good stuff, and those are great tips. Your tips are always great, and the Look Up tip is still my favorite tip of yours, because I think that most people don't take the time to slow down and look up.
Right.
So that's Michelle's great, wonderful great tip of the year. My lesser best tip, actually 2 tips. I'm going to give you 2 tips for my favorite tips of 2018. And my first one is the one I harp on all the time. Yes, says she drinks a bottle of water. Hydrate when you're at the parks. Be sure and keep hydrated. Whether you bring a bottle of water in, whether you go get some drinks from at some of the restaurants. And another thing is that, you don't even need to purchase water when you're at the parks. Yes, there's fountains or whatever, but if you go to anywhere where they serve fountain drinks, all you can say is, hey, can I have a glass of water? They'll give you a cup of water for free. If you can pay for the bottle of water if you want, but you can get cups of water for free. The main thing is just stay hydrated throughout the day, especially in Florida where it can be hot and humid and you can be tired and cranky. The more you're dehydrated, the worse it's going to be for you. The more it's going to affect you as the trip goes on, including dehydration could lead to possible illnesses and other such things. Right. So stay hydrated at the parks as much as you can. My second pick is my tip was my favorite tip for Disney Cruise Line. And I couldn't believe it took me so many episodes to actually bring this up, is that when you go to bed, and if you like coffee, if you like to have coffee in the morning, when you wake up and you're on Disney Cruise Line the night before, when you go to bed, you call up room service, and of course order Mickey bars or maybe some warm chocolate chip cookies or whatever else you want to eat. But always also order a pot of coffee. Now, you don't need to drink it that night. If you want, you can have some decaf too. Order 2 pots. Have a regular and a decaf pot, and you can drink the decaf that night and then have the regular for the next morning. The pot, if you seal it up good, it will stay warm. It won't be piping hot in the morning, but it'll be a nice warm cup of coffee in the morning. Their pots are spectacular on Disney Cruise Line. It's a way that you don't have to stumble around, get up, get dressed, go out and try and find coffee in the morning. You can have it right there in your room as everybody is getting ready to go and have a good day on Disney Cruise Line.
That is an amazing tip, and it's so true. And like you're saying, you order it the night before, treat yourself to a Mickey bar or like you said, some cookies. So it's a 2 for fun thing there.
There you go.
And that is an awesome tip. And the hydration one also, very important. You want to get the most joy and pleasure out of your trip. So hydrating is a way to, kind of make sure that's, more likely to happen.
It's just a huge thing that can go by the wayside if you're not thinking about it. But believe me, just, having that much more water when you're on the trip, and especially if you're doing a Run Disney thing, definitely hydrate if you're doing Run Disney. But either way.
Disney Cruise one, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I still, it's my favorite tip, and I've known it for so long. I can't believe it took me several, I don't even remember when I did it, but it took me at least 7-8 episodes before I finally brought it up. So. Yeah. Anyway, and I can't believe we're already at episode 31. Crazy. It's been a crazy year for us. And thank you all for joining us on this whole adventure that we've gone through. When we started this thing in June, we had no idea. We'd been talking about it for a while, but we finally just okay, let's just do this thing. We were amazed when we got 1 or 2 people that, weren't our family or friends that were listening to us. And now we have several of you out there, and we just really appreciate you joining us on this journey. And I always get tickled to death when, we get so many people that will download us right away when we first release an episode. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who listens to us out there and have subscribed to us and whatever.
Yes, absolutely. It really does, bring a lot of pleasure to us. But in addition to that, we've loved being able to connect with a lot of you and really getting to know some of you, whether it be through social media or through you contacting us directly on the, some of our ways, which I think Tom's going to share with you again.
Just a moment here.
Yes. But just really getting to know more people, more Disney fans that are out there, and whether you're interested in the parks or, like you said, in the cruise ship or Star Wars or Marvel, there's just so many wonderful folks out there, and we really appreciate having the opportunity to connect with you and get to know you.
Yes, so much so. And I also want to talk about this just for a quick second here. There are a lot of things out there right now at Disney that ties in. There's people out there on social media and everything. There's so much negativity in the world. We strive to be a positive podcast. We find that there's so much negativity. We strive to be a very positive podcast. And we appreciate that you like that you are willing to join us on this positive podcast road we're taking here. If you want to find negativity, it's out there. This may even cost us some of our listeners, but we don't care because we want to be positive. We find there's enough negativity in the world, in your life right now, that we are thrilled to be we're a little over an hour and a half now. Hour and a half break in that to just be positive and talk about fun stuff Disney-wise and just have a good time.
Sure. And, that doesn't mean that we don't have opinions that
we're
we
fair.
share.
I find we're fair.
Yes. So we're not trying to be all pie in the sky or be unrealistic. Like you're saying, we're fair. But it's also great to have that dialogue with you. Sometimes we put something out there and we hear from you of another perspective that we hadn't heard of. And so it's been a really fun thing to have this and to be able to share it with you all, and the fact that you open up to us. We truly appreciate it.
Very much so. We are always good for a good dialogue about anything.
Yes.
Even if you don't agree with what our viewpoint is, that's fine. As long as it's respectful, we're always good for a good dialogue. But thank you so much for being positive Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, whatever it is, fans, or if you just enjoy listening to us, which I don't know why, but we really appreciate that so much.
Help.
So true. It's so true. But thank you. We love you all. Thank you for being our Hyperion adventurers.
Yes, and we wish all of you the best for 2019, best of health, best of happiness, and we hope to continue this journey with you all in 2019.
We will be. As a matter of fact, speaking of 2019,
yes, we have some
coming up, our next episode, we have fun stuff coming up. You're right. Next week, 2019, our first episode of 2019, we know a lot of you know some people, or maybe even yourselves, got engaged during the holidays, whether it be Christmas or whether it be New Year's, or it's coming up on Valentine's Day. Maybe someone who's getting engaged. Maybe you got engaged yourself. Maybe you're thinking about getting married on a Disney property. Well, we're going to be covering that with a new series coming up here over the next few weeks. It's going to be a 3-part Tying the Knot with Disney series. And we're going to start it off next week talking about Disney Cruise Line and our experience renewing our vows on Disney Cruise Line. Also some of the things we learned from the whole experience, the way we did it and other ways to do it aboard Disney Cruise Line.
Yes, whether it's renewing or, taking your initial vows, right?
And then we'll be going on from there. We have some guests joining us. One that got married at the Walt Disney World Resort, so they'll share experience of that. And we'll finish it off with someone who got married at the Disneyland Resort in a grand way. And we're looking forward to hearing both of their stories as we progress through the next few weeks.
Yes, and if you have some of your experiences of whether it be getting married or vow renewal at any of the Disney parks or anything like that, please feel free.
Anything Disney related, Star Wars, even if it wasn't at a Disney park, but you had a Star Wars wedding or something, or a Marvel themed wedding or whatever it might be, it's kind of fun,
Right, and we'd love to share that.
Mm-hmm. So please contact us, and here are the ways you can contact us. You can find us on social media, on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook and Instagram at Hyperion Adventures Podcast, and you can always email us, Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I always stumble across that. I think I just wear down by the end of these episodes. You can hear it in my voice.
You're not hydrating.
That's true. I found a big bottle of water back here. I need to get into it here. Email us, HyperionAdventuresPodcast at gmail.com.
Yes, please reach out to us. And for those of you, again, I can't thank you enough throughout this year that you've reached out to us. We really appreciate it. It's been such a blast. It's
been a fun year. We've really enjoyed this, and we've really enjoyed getting to know many of you out there. And, it's just been a great time. And you found us today. You can find us in the future, 1057max.com under the Max Plus tab in the Max FM app. And, of course, you can always listen to us, or better yet, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And please tell your friends about us. And if you even have a little more time, give us a rating. If you have even more time, give us a review. It just helps others just like you find this podcast.
Yes. Thanks for those who have done that already.
Yes, we really appreciate it. We appreciate you, whether you've done it or not. Just listening. Yes. Even if you only listen to 2 minutes of this, just the fact that you've taken a split second of your day to give us time always amazes me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we're very thankful here at the end of 2018, apparently. So. And I'm going to thank you again. Thank you for listening to the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week, next year. Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year.
Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope you have a magical